Can you imagine there are startup business loans with no credit check? They're willing to give you, those lenders, they're willing to lend you up to $10 million, and funding can take anywhere from 7 to 14 days. You want to hear more? Stick around till the end of today's conversation. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. How are you today? I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous, if you were to ask me. If you are doing as great as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. In today's conversation, I want to talk to you about the top 5 startup business loans with no credit check, and you can receive up to $10 million in funding with the cash being dispersed within 7 to 14 days. Now, before we even get into the nitty-gritty, you have to understand that searching for a business startup loan with no credit check is an important process, especially if you don't want to risk any of your personal assets, right? And having good credit is not a requirement to start a business. However, some creativity may be required to overcome potential obstacles. And if you have bad credit and want to start a business, you should look into business startup loans with no credit check. So below in this show, we have actually compared some of the top choices for borrowers with bad credit. And one thing you have to understand is that if you want to pay for startup cost, you look for cash flow, you want to reduce personal risk, you want to purchase inventory, you want to make more money than it costs to borrow the money without risking your own assets. It's important to actually pay attention to the best startup business loans with no credit check. Now, there are, if for any reason, the 5 lenders I'm talking to you today about, if it doesn't work out, if your application gets rejected, there are other ways. You might look for crowdfunding, for example. You can look for a small business grants. You can look around, you can tap into your friends and family network. You can look for microloans and nonprofits. Yes. The cool thing here is that microloans can be offered to businesses that need less than $50,000 and are relatively easy to obtain. So you might want to double check that route too. You might actually think about tapping into your business credit cards if you have one, or actually you can actually apply for one. Those are a lot easier to get than some startup business loans. So I'm just giving you a constellation of funding options that you may want to think about if for some reason you get rejected by any of the 5 lenders I'll be talking to you today about. Before I get into the nitty-gritty, please check out our short evaluation approach video. We do have a strict approach when it comes to evaluating, categorizing, and reviewing loans on this show. Check this out. All right, number 5, we have PayPal business loans. Our score, 8.5 over 10. So this is best for no credit check startup loans for startup founders who already have a relationship with PayPal. So you got to have a relationship with PayPal. So if you have poor credit but have a relationship with PayPal, you can apply for PayPal business loan. It's great. The cool thing here is that you have the APR oscillates between 15% and 30%. And in terms of the repayment terms, PayPal will take out a portion of each sale until the amount is fully repaid. So upon establishing your loan agreement, you will choose whether you want the lender to take out 10%, 15%, 20%, 25%, or 30% of each PayPal sale. Now, selecting a higher percentage and thus a shorter time of repayment will ensure that the lender charges you a lower fee than with a lower percentage. So you have to think about that. All right. Now the loan, in terms of the loan amount, you can get somewhere from 25% of your yearly sales with a maximum amount of $97,000 on your first loan and $125,000 for future loans. And PayPal's business loans fund within just a few minutes. This is the fastest we have seen in all the loans we have reviewed on this show. So it takes a few minutes, and this is very cool. And this is actually, this is pretty cool if you need the cash very fast, right? And so what are the pros and cons of this funding? Pros: it's quick to fund with access to cash within minutes, easy online application, quick decision time, easy for new businesses or borrowers with bad credit to qualify, lower annual percentage rates than other online lenders, no collateral or personal guarantee required. What about the cons? Low maximum loan amounts. Remember I said $125,000? Yeah. You have higher fees than with traditional bank loans. You have less flexible repayment terms than with many other lenders. This is no boost to your credit score, and PayPal membership is required. One thing you have to understand is that, hey, listen, this is expensive, but PayPal is a reputable worldwide online payment system and has been accredited with the Better Business Bureau since 2001. So this is you are safe here. This is a great option to think about. Number 4, we have Lendio. Our score 9/10. This is best for startup, no credit check, loan diversity. You have a constellation of loan options with Lendio. And why? Because Lendio is basically an online fintech marketplace that connects businesses seeking financing with lenders that can provide it. That's what it is. They are a loan matchmaker. And so Lendio will ask you a series of questions that are used within their algorithm to help prioritize the best lenders for your situation. All right. So what are the pros and cons here? So the pros: you have multiple funding options for just about any business, including startups, easy application process, competitive pricing, network of more than 75 lenders. And again, it doesn't matter if you have poor credit, bad credit, average credit, fair credit, doesn't matter. You will get approved because they will match you with the lender that best suits your situation. What about the drawbacks here? Marketing and solicitation can occur after application process. That's how they make money. They're trying to upsell. So Lendio will be sending you emails and email, blah, 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 right? And so that's one drawback. The second drawback is that the competitive bidding can cause uncertainty sometimes. So when it comes to loans, business loans with no credit check at Lendio, you have a wide array. They cover the whole gamut. Here I'm talking about loan options available through Lendio includes short-term loans, no credit check for startups, term loans with no credit check for startups, merchant cash advances with no credit check for startups. You have lines of credits available to startups at no credit check. You have SBA loans and equipment financing. Now, obviously, equipment financing and merchant cash advances are what we call collateralized loans. So you are basically collateralizing for merchant cash advances. You're basically collateralizing a percentage of your future card-based sales in exchange for a lump sum, right? And for equipment financing, you are basically again collateralizing the underlying equipment. So the bottom line here is that it doesn't really matter whether they check your credit or not. But overall, the picture I want to paint about Lendio is that this is a great source for borrowers, for business borrowers with the poor credit. This is a matchmaker. This is a loan matchmaker. They've been in business for a while. Their algorithm is great, and the application process is fast, and they can disburse funding real quick. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back right after this. Welcome back, folks, to another section of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. And in number 3, I want to talk to you about Currency Finance, formerly Currency Capital. Our score, 9.5/10. And this is best for high, no credit check startup loan amounts. So if you're looking for a high amount and you have poor credit, you want to consider Currency Finance. And Currency Finance is a small business lender that provides equipment financing and other types of loans. And this lender does not require a minimum business credit score. For loans $150,000 or less, Currency Finance highlights one of the simplest underwriting processes. So the loan amounts, you have 5,000 all the way to 2 million. Think about it, 2 million. That's fantastic. And one thing you also have to know here is that the APR range 6% to 24%. The time to fund, you can get your funds as early as the same day. The loan term 1 to 5 years. If you want to qualify, you need to have anywhere from a 520 personal credit score all the way to 850. And you need to have $120,000 in annual revenue. But we have reached out to Currency Finance, and they basically assured us that as a startup, you don't have to show revenue. As long as you have a great application package, they will review the whole thing and make their decision based on your application. What are the pros and cons here? The pros: you can borrow from 5,000 all the way to 2 million. The loan terms 6 years to 6 months rather, 6 months to 5 years. Competitive interest rates. They work with businesses that have tax liens, and they can work with business owners who have had a personal bankruptcy, and there's no minimum business credit score. What about the cons? They require business annual revenue of at least 120,000, but they will accept also business startups with no revenue. They don't work with businesses in certain industries, including adult entertainment and gambling. And they want a minimum personal credit score of 520. So this is important to know. Number 2, folks, we have BlueVine. When it comes to the top 5 startup business loans with no credit check, BlueVine is number 2. Our score 9.5 over 10. BlueVine is great for customer service and application speed for no credit check startup loans. And the cool thing here is that BlueVine can provide capital for small to medium-sized B2B and B2G business to government businesses. And this fintech company is known for invoice factoring and servicing funding requests faster than most of its competitors. But they also provide, in addition to invoice factoring, they also provide business loans like regular business loan, term loans, SBA loans, and a whole range of other loans. And they provide that to business owners and startup owners with poor credit. Loan amounts 5,000 to $250,000. APR range 15% to 78%. The repayment terms 6 or 12 months. In some cases, they can go all the way to 36 months. Time to funding as fast as 24 hours. Really, if you have the right application package and everything ready, you should get your money real fast. And what about the pros and cons here? Pros: fast and easy application process. It's one thing that we have actually seen time and again with BlueVine. This is really cool. And funding decisions typically made within 24 hours. 80% of production is from repeat customers, so you kind of have some kind of loyalty there, right? People actually, customers love their seriousness, the transparency, so they come back. And no hard credit checks. What about the cons? No funding for B2C companies. So if you are a startup and you serve consumers, you are in the B2C space, BlueVine is not for you, unfortunately. And they sometimes prefer personal FICO scores above 550. So if you have poor credit, but you are above 550, you are still good. You're good to go. And when they do invoice factoring transactions are full recourse. In other words, you might have to actually, the seller of the accounts receivable, you might have to repurchase the AR that you sold to BlueVine. Number 1, folks, the best of the best in our view when it comes to startup business loans with no credit check. Number 1, Fundbox. Our score 10 over 10. And this loan is best for startup invoice factoring and invoice financing. From time to time, if you have the best application package, they might finance a regular loan, a traditional loan, but they really focus on startup invoice factoring and invoice financing, and they do no credit check for poor credit. So Fundbox is really an invoice factoring company that services individuals and B2C entities. And this fintech company can deliver funds, fast funds, up to $10 million. $10 million, folks. All right. So the thing you have to understand is that the loan amounts here ranges from 1,000 to 10 million. If you have the right application package, you need to have the right application package with the right documentation, everything clean, and that's it. APR range 10% to 79.8%. Repayment terms 3 to 72 months. Again, the repayment terms depends on the application, but it can go all the way to 6 years. And credit score, no minimum personal credit score required. Again, because if they're doing a startup invoicing, then they don't need your credit score. And the time to funding, a few minutes to several days. It really depends upon the application and if the underwriter has additional questions and how fast you provide those the responses to their additional questions. What about the pros and cons here? So no minimum credit scores. They finance invoices for individuals and small businesses. They provide other small business loans for startups with no credit checks. They have transparent terms. We love that. They have an easy application process. The interface is very user-friendly. It's very intuitive. We love that. What about the cons? Minimum requirements, 6 months in business and 6 months built in your accounting software, but they will do a special derogation for startups. Again, it depends on the application package here, and they have no collection services, and transactions are full recourse. All right, folks, this is it for today's conversation. I really thank you for sticking around. I was talking to you about the top 5 startup business loans with no credit check. And number 1, we have Fundbox, 10 over 10. Number 2, BlueVine, 9.5 over 10. Number 3, we have Currency Finance, formerly Currency Capital, 9.5 over 10. Number 4, we have Lendio, 9 over 10. And number 5, we have PayPal Business Loans, 8.5 over 10. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. I will see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.